Hi everyone, I'm Ruby from the Useful Journal. I did a month of washi in my journal last September, and I haven't made a video about it yet, well, not put it all together in one anyway, and I really wanted to share it with you because I go through 30 different ways to use washi, and they're all fairly different. There's similar techniques in them, but they are different enough. This video is going to go through 10 of those methods. Some are easy and some are more difficult, and I can't wait to share them with you. Make sure you subscribe so that you're notified when my next 2 videos are ready, so that you can see the other 20 methods as well. In September, all my washi spreads are around the same theme, which is medieval, and so I used dragons, I used princesses and swords and knights and horseshoes and all that kind of thing. Dragons, so lots of different things around the same theme. I like to use a theme because it inspires me and helps me come up with ideas for what my spreads will look like. So these spreads were all in my tuck tea journal, which I've just untied the ribbon on, but this is my tuck tea journal, very beautiful journal. And I'm just going to, for the sake of this, the tuck tea journal has 2 separate little books in it, and for the sake of making this a bit easier, I'm going to pull one of them out so you can see it just slips out like that. Put the rest of it away, and I've covered it in washi tape, and I've got a dragon on the back. The first page, which was this one, was using washi tape as background to a cutout picture. Now you'll need a sheet of black paper or any paper that will contrast. You'll need an X-Acto knife, you'll need a self-healing cutting mat, you'll need glue or a double-sided tape for this particular method, and you'll need a pencil and eraser and a gel pen, because you can see I've written on the black paper for the month. I saved the picture I cut out to use on my back cover, so you can see here you don't need to waste it. Cut out the picture or the shape and fill the space by lining the page with washi tape. I chose to use a wide washi tape to cover the page more quickly. It was 3 centimeters wide. You could use an even wider one. The tape I used is from the washi tape shop. I have an affiliate link which is in the information about this video, so please use it if you want to buy something from the washi tape shop to support me. Now you might be wondering why I cut out my picture first and then put the washi tape on my page. That means that you can limit the washi tape just to where you need it on the page for the picture. And this was important around the tail, because the tail doesn't take up the full length of the page. Also, you'll notice that my dragon changes size. This is not magic. I actually changed the size of the dragon. I did it again because the first dragon didn't leave me enough room on the page for the title, so I cut it out all over again. And when I cut it out, it was better because I added in little features. You can see here I've added in extra little lines which gave it more detail and more shadow, so it looked better in the end anyway. You use glue or tape to attach the outline to your page, and then I used a tissue to smooth down the page. It was slightly damp because I had some glue residue on the front of my page and I wanted to get rid of it, so the tissue not only helped me smooth down the page but also helped me to get rid of any glue on the page. And I used a metallic gel pen for the title. My second method is a very simple one. It's washi tape framed boxes. I used a 1.5 centimeter tape, and because this was too wide for the page, it would have taken up too much of the page, I instead trimmed it in half, like to half the width, so I got 2 widths out of each length, and that meant that it just looked a lot better. Now when I'm cutting washi tape, I use a metal ruler. I used to use a plastic ruler, but realized that every time I used my knife along it, I was trimming off little bits of the plastic and it was no longer had a straight edge. So now I use a metal ruler whenever I'm using my X-Acto knife. The other thing I've done on this particular version of boxes is I have trimmed the corners as a mitered corner so that they, when you put the 2 lengths together, they're an equal shape in the corner, and that means you get a really neat finish. I also decided to add detail by adding in this narrow washi tape in the middle. It just looked a little plain without it, and this just added extra depth and interest to the frame. And if you look at frames, they'll often have a kind of a beveled edge. This tape here makes it look like it's got a beveled edge. My third method was this edge, and you can see when you are turning the pages in your journal that you can see it from both sides, so it's quite easy to find that edge. It's as simple as it gets with washi tape. I have seen it used in some journals. Some people like to use it on every single page just so that it's got a pretty edge, and it gives it a kind of a rainbow finish on the edges of the pages. I usually use it, like when I'm flicking through, I can find that page straight away because it's got that nice distinct edge. All you have to do is lay the tape along your front edge, and then you fold it over and stick it to the back side of that page as well. A lot of journals, this journal doesn't, but a lot of journals have rounded corners. If it has rounded corners, you simply trim around that corner, trim the washi tape around the corner to even it out. So my fourth method was to use washi tape as headers for boxes on the page. I used a range of different patterns, you can see there. You could use the same colour, you could use, I've used different themes to a colour. You could use it to a theme. You could make, it doesn't matter about the colour, but you wanted to go with a theme. So there's lots of different ways you could choose your washi tape. The other thing I did was add a motif. If you see that close up, you'll see that I've put the day of the week and the date on that horseshoe. So that was just my way of, because there's very few pens that will write on washi tape, so especially some of these patterned ones and foiled ones. So this was my way of being able to add a little bit of detail. Okay, we're already up to the 5th different idea for using washi tape. Now this one, where is he? This one is to use washi tape in a collage, and the washi tape is this one, and this is a washi tape, and this apricot coloured one is a washi tape as well. Washi tape is an excellent addition to a collage. It adds colour, it adds interest, it can help bring the picture together, like by filling in gaps or just to provide linking colours between some other items you're using in your collage. I added a floral clear PET tape. I don't like PET tapes that much, but mainly because they don't tear, but they do have their place and some of them are quite pretty, so I have a couple. I also added a fish washi tape, and that's this one, and I added an apricot, just a plain narrow apricot tape. The good thing about using washi tape in a collage is that if it doesn't work the first time, if you don't like the placement the first time, then washi tape, of course, is very easy to remove and stick down again somewhere else, depending on the paper. Usually, most journals I've tried have been fine. the longer you leave the tape, the more it will stick to the page. Like if I tried to remove these now, they would tear the page. So, but you get a fair amount of time that you can move things around in. Yeah, and the idea is to just create a picture out of a whole range of different papers and pictures and stickers and things like that, and come up with a picture. To step away there for a minute because my neighbour decided to mow his lawn. I don't think he's finished yet, but anyway. The sixth method I'm going to show you is using washi tape on page tabs to mark the page tabs, and you'll see here they're very pretty ways to easily turn to a page using the tab. They can be used as month markers, weekly markers, or I've used it this time to mark trackers. And the first step is to measure and cut out the tabs. And then you choose the tab width based on the width of the tape you want to use. So I used a 2 centimetre wide tape, which meant that my tabs needed to be 1 centimetre wide, because then you stick your washi tape on the front side of the tab and fold it around to the back side of the tab. If you chose a 3 centimetre wide tape, then you could have 1.5 centimetre wide tabs. I found that I think 1 centimetre is a nice width. Now when you're spacing your tabs down the page, make sure you allow for the angled finish, and you can see I've got a tiny gap between my tabs. If you have a lot of tabs, you could have them overlapping, but they're easier to pick up when you're using your journal. They're easier to pick up if they've got a small gap between them. Now, you cut the top page first, because then you can see where you can make sure that your next page is correctly spaced and that you can see the whole tab. You then cover it with the washi, and you can trim the washi to the shape of the tab, so you angle off the ends of it to match the shape of your tab. I love how this looks, and there's lots of ways you can use it and lots of different colour combinations and ideas you could use. It's a really nice idea. Now next one is a big one. This is a washi tape background, and that's this page here. Can you see that? We've got a dragon down in the corner, and we've got him shooting flames out of his mouth. This one's a little bit more complicated. The idea is that you're using the washi tape as a background to the main event on your page. So it might just be, some people draw pictures and then use washi tape as a background behind that. In my case, I've used it as a background to my habit trackers. So I've cut out around my habit trackers, and then the washi tape is the background to that. And it just happens that my background is my picture. Typically you would only use one washi tape. The idea is that it's not meant to distract people from what's happening in front of it, so one washi tape is better. Now you basically cover the whole area that you want to do with tape, and if you want to save tape, you can kind of, like I have, place it around where the gaps are that you're going to be filling in, and then you basically cut with an X-Acto knife on your page to remove the tape from the bits that you want exposed. And I've also used a knife to cut around the outside of my picture to give the flame shape. Now, using an X-Acto knife in your journal is a bit scary, but you do get better at it. The reason you have to do it in your journal for this particular idea is that you wouldn't be able to get it to match up properly if you cut it somewhere else and then moved it. It's just much easier to do it in place. And the idea is that you press very gently with your knife. It doesn't matter if you don't go all the way through, because you can always cut again. It's better to do that than to press really hard and go right through your page. And I've done that, and it can be fixed by just putting a sticker or something on the back side of it, but obviously it's better to avoid it. Now you'll also notice that I've had the tape go right into his mouth down here, and then I've cut around his teeth, and that's because I wanted the flame to really look like it was coming out of his mouth. If it had started just at the end of his mouth, it wouldn't look like it was coming out of his mouth. So you've got to think about little details like that as well. And so I had to cut around the teeth a little bit. Number 8 is creating a washi tape picture with templates. So here's the finished picture. I used that on my sleep tracker, little princess. So firstly, you draw the picture in your journal and then you trace it from that. And the reason for that is that once you have your templates, you want to know where to put them on your page, and it just acts as a guide. The thing I do though is you can get erasers that you kind of roll. They're for artists and they roll on the page and they only take off some of the pencil lead. That's a really good option because then you have a really faint outline and it's not going to show through your washi tape once you've stuck the washi tape down. You then lay some tape on your cutting board, and when you're laying the tape you might need more than one width, especially if you're using a tape that's only 1.5 centimeters wide or less. When you're laying them down, if it's got a pattern, it's really important to make sure that you try and match that pattern as closely as possible so that it doesn't look like so you don't notice a cut. For instance, on her neck there's actually a cut across there, but it's really not very visible because when I laid it down I made sure that the pattern matched. With a template picture, the good thing about using templates is that you're not cutting in your journal. You do the cutting on a self-healing cutting mat, and so there's less risk. So the trick in this is that when you're cutting it out, you have a little seam allowance for bits that are going to overlap. The reason you want it to overlap is you don't want a gap like on your page. You don't want the page to show through between the skin and the edge of the fabric, like the edge of their top. The other thing when you're cutting out, in addition to the seam allowance, you don't need the seam allowance on every edge obviously, just the ones where you want it to overlap. And the other thing is, if your paper's slipping around a bit, you can always tape down the edges to your mat so that it doesn't move. Now tweezers will make placement a lot easier with these small fiddly pieces, and also tweezers, I use a flat ended one, a straight ended one. If you need to move a piece, it's very easy to use the tweezers to pick it up and move that piece and adjust it a little bit. So I use tweezers all the time. If you need to move a piece to put another piece underneath it, so on my princess I put down the arms first because the skin had to go under other pieces, but obviously you want the arm to be over the top of the dress, it's not under the dress. So I had to lift the end of the arm and then put the dress underneath and then stick the arm back down again. Another advantage of using washi tape for this kind of thing. Number 9 is a geometric pattern. You could be really particular and careful and create a pattern that you then follow, or you could just be like me and make it up as you go. And I just randomly put pieces down and I picked colours that kind of went together, but I literally just stuck it down and made it up as I went. It's a good idea to mix it up using different widths, use different patterns. Or you could mix up the colours. I've gone fairly uniform in colour because I wanted to match my princess on the page, but there's nothing wrong with using lots of different colours. You could do a plaid, like a copy of fabric, like there's lots of different things you could do. Okay, here's the last one, using washi tape as stickers. Now, you don't often need to do this these days because there's so many washi tape stickers available, which is basically rolls of washi tape, but they're actually stickers, not tape. But you can actually create your own stickers from washi tape. You can cut out different elements, and you can see in my video that I've cut out some flowers from a tape, but you can also cut out something that may not be obvious, but you'll see this tape. So this tape is just a parchment looking thing, but you can see that it's got a pattern on it, like created by the brown against the white. And I thought that it looked a bit like flames, which kind of goes with my dragon theme. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go. It goes with my dragon theme a little bit. So I ended up cutting around that brown shape to create my flames at the bottom of my page. And that's them there. So I've cut around and it worked out really well. So that's what I mean about washi tape can be cut to create a sticker. So very simple idea. The little dragons on the page, washi tape, but they're actually stickers on a roll. So not really washi tape, but they're thin and a little bit transparent like washi tape is. There's really a lot of options with this idea, and I mean, whether you want to bother when there's so many stickers available, it's up to you. But I mean, something like that flame idea, there's not washi tapes that do that. So if you get creative, there's little extra things you can do if you look at your tape a bit differently. So that's the first 10 ideas, and there are 20 more, and believe me, they get really exciting. There's some really cool ideas I've got to share with you, and I can't wait. So I hope you enjoyed this first 10. Make sure you like this video and subscribe, because then you'll get notified when the next washi tape video comes out. I've got heaps of other videos that show how to use washi tape, so please check them out as well. Like this video and subscribe to me so that you get notified next time I put out a washi tape video. I do have another one coming out soon with the next 10 ideas, so something to look forward to. I can't wait to share it with you. Thank you so much for joining me with this video, and I hope you hang around for the next couple. Bye.